The night was cold, the kind that crept under the skin and bit through the bones. The rain had stopped only moments ago, leaving the road slick and silent, reflecting the pale glow of the moon. Mark tightened his grip on the steering wheel of his old pickup truck, his tired eyes fighting to stay open. He had just finished a double shift at the construction site and was on his way home to his little boy, Ethan. But then he saw it, something on the side of the road. At first, he thought it was just a pile of clothes, maybe a broken sign or a bag left behind. But as his headlights caught it fully, his heart stopped. It was a woman. He slammed the brakes, the truck skidding slightly before stopping. He jumped out, rainwater splashing beneath his boots as he ran toward her. She was lying there, half in the mud, her clothes torn, her face bruised, her body trembling. He knelt beside her carefully. Hey, can you hear me? Her eyelids fluttered weakly. Please, help. Mark immediately took off his jacket and wrapped it around her shoulders. It's okay. You're safe now. I'm calling an ambulance. But when he tried to help her sit up, she let out a cry of pain. Her legs didn't move. He froze. Your legs, they don't work anymore, she whispered, tears mixing with the rain. They hurt me. They said I'd never walk again. He looked around, but the road was empty. Whoever had done this was long gone. He pulled out his phone, hands shaking, and called for help. When the ambulance arrived, Mark followed them all the way to the hospital, not even realizing how soaked and cold he was. Hours later, in the hospital waiting room, Mark sat silently, a blanket around his shoulders. Ethan was at home with a neighbor. He couldn't get her face out of his mind, the pain in her eyes, the way she tried to smile through it. A nurse approached him. Sir, she's awake now. You can see her for a few minutes. He nodded and walked slowly to the room. She looked small and fragile in the hospital bed, her face pale, her hands bruised. But when she saw him, her lips trembled into a faint smile. You stayed, she whispered. Of course, he said softly. I couldn't just leave you. Most people would have, she murmured, her eyes distant. I've learned that the hard way. He pulled a chair beside her bed. I'm Mark. What's your name? She hesitated for a moment, then said, Claire. There was something about the way she said it, something broken, something burdened. Over the next few days, Mark visited her daily. He brought flowers, magazines, sometimes just quiet company. Claire slowly opened up. She had been missing for 3 days. A car accident, followed by something darker. People she trusted had turned on her, left her broken both inside and out. One evening, as Mark sat beside her, she looked at him with tears in her eyes. Why are you being so kind to me? You don't even know who I am. He smiled softly. You needed someone. That's enough reason for me. But a week later, he found out exactly who she was. He was sitting in the waiting room, flipping through the newspaper, when a headline caught his eye. Heir to the Rivers Corporation found alive after mysterious disappearance. His heart stopped. The photo beneath the headline showed her, Claire Rivers. The woman he had found broken on the road wasn't just anyone. She was the daughter of the CEO of one of the biggest companies in the city, a woman everyone thought was dead. Mark put the paper down slowly. The world suddenly felt very big and very far away. When he entered her room again, she saw the newspaper in his hand and looked away. So now you know, she whispered. You must think I'm a fool. A rich girl who had everything and still managed to lose it. He shook his head. No, I think you're a survivor. Her eyes filled with tears. You don't understand. People like you work hard, you fight every day. And people like me, we live behind glass. But when it breaks, we don't even know how to breathe anymore. Mark sat down, his voice gentle. You don't have to be people like you anymore. Just be Claire, the woman who's still here. The woman who's going to heal. Weeks turned into months. Claire began physical therapy, learning how to move again, even if her legs refused to obey. Mark was always there, after work, before dawn, whenever she needed someone. Ethan adored her. He'd bring her little drawings that said things like, "You're strong, Miss Claire." And, "You can do it." Every time she looked at that child, something in her healed. But one day, as Mark wheeled her to the park for some air, she looked up and said, "Mark, when you found me that night, I wanted to die." He stopped walking. But now, she continued softly, "When I see your son smile, when I hear your laugh, I want to live." He knelt beside her, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "Then live, Claire, not for what happened, not for what you lost, but for what's waiting ahead. Months later, she could move her legs slightly. Her father came to see her, the powerful man who once ruled companies but couldn't protect his own daughter. She forgave him, and when she was strong enough, she stood, trembling, holding onto the bars, tears streaming down her face. Mark and Ethan clapped for her from the side. "You did it," Ethan shouted. Claire laughed through her tears. "No, we did it. That Christmas, Mark invited her to dinner. It was nothing fancy, just a small meal, a few candles, and the sound of laughter." As snow fell outside, Claire looked around the room, the tiny house, the flickering lights, the man and his little boy who had saved her from the edge of despair. And when Mark raised his glass, he said softly, "To second chances." Claire smiled. "To the people who find us when we're lost." She reached across the table, taking his hand. For the first time in a long time, she didn't feel broken. She felt home, and the man who once thought he was just a poor single dad realized he had given something far richer than money. He had given hope. And in return, he found love. Heart. Rain poured over the deserted road that night, the kind of cold, merciless rain that blurred headlights and swallowed every sound. Daniel, a tired single dad driving home from his late shift at the mechanic shop, spotted something ahead through the storm. At first, he thought it was just debris. But as he slowed down, his heart froze. It wasn't debris, it was a woman. She was lying half off the road, her wheelchair turned on its side, one wheel still spinning weakly. Daniel jumped out of his truck and ran through the rain. "Hey, are you okay?" he shouted. The woman didn't respond at first, just flinched when he touched her shoulder. Her face was bruised, hair tangled with blood and mud. She looked terrified. "Please," she whispered, "don't hurt me." Daniel's heart broke at the fear in her voice. "You're safe now," he said softly. "I'm not going to hurt you. Let me help." He carried her gently into his truck, wrapped his jacket around her trembling shoulders, and drove straight to the small clinic nearby. When the doctor examined her, Daniel waited outside, soaked and shivering. After what felt like forever, the doctor came out. "She's lucky you found her," he said. "She's been through a terrible assault. The bruises suggest she was beaten and dragged from her wheelchair. She'll need rest and care." Daniel nodded. "She can stay with me until she's safe. I've got a small place, but it's warm." The doctor hesitated. "Are you sure? This could get complicated." Daniel just looked through the window at her, pale, fragile, and alone. No one deserves to be left out there like that. Not in this storm. The woman's name, he learned later, was Evelyn. She barely spoke at first. Every loud sound made her flinch. But Daniel's daughter, little Mia, changed that. Mia was only 6, innocent, full of laughter. When Evelyn woke up the next morning, Mia was sitting beside her bed, offering her favorite stuffed rabbit. "Daddy said you got hurt," she said softly. "You can borrow Mr. Hoppy till you feel better." Evelyn smiled for the first time. "Thank you, Mia." Over the next few days, Daniel cooked for her, helped her with therapy, and fixed her wheelchair. Slowly, Evelyn started to open up. One night, as rain tapped gently on the windows again, she finally spoke the truth. "I used to be somebody," she said quietly, staring into the fire. Daniel frowned. "You are somebody, Evelyn." "No," she said, "you don't understand. I was the CEO of Northstar Holdings." Daniel froze. He'd heard that name before. It was the company that had once bought out his father's garage and shut it down, leaving his family broke. "You're her." Evelyn nodded, tears in her eyes. "Yes, but that was before the accident. Before my fiancé left me. Before I lost everything." The silence between them grew heavy. Daniel didn't know what to say. The woman he'd saved was the same one indirectly responsible for his hardest years. But when he looked at her, broken, trembling, and yet still fighting, something inside him shifted. "You're not that person anymore," he said gently. "Everyone deserves a second chance." Days turned into weeks. Evelyn began helping Mia with her reading. Daniel built a ramp outside the house for her wheelchair. Laughter slowly returned to their small home. Then, one afternoon, a black SUV pulled up outside. 2 men in suits stepped out. "Ms. Evelyn Hart," one said, "we've been looking for you. The board wants you back. Your partner has been arrested for embezzlement. You're still the legal CEO." Evelyn's hands shook. I don't know if I can go back." Daniel stepped forward. "You can, but only if you want to. Not because they told you to." She looked at him, at the man who'd saved her, cared for her without asking for anything, and tears filled her eyes. I want to, she whispered. But I don't want to lose what I found here. Daniel smiled softly. Then don't. Go lead your company. But remember where your real home is. Months later, Evelyn rebuilt Northstar, this time with heart. She opened a foundation for accident victims, and Daniel's mechanic shop became its official service partner. At the opening ceremony, reporters asked her, "What made you change, Ms. Hart?" She smiled, looking at Daniel and little Mia in the crowd. "Kindness," she said, "one stranger's kindness on a rainy night." And when the cameras stopped flashing, Evelyn wheeled over to Daniel. "Do you ever regret helping me?" she asked softly. He took her hand gently. "Never." Then Mia ran up, hugging Evelyn tightly. "Mommy Evelyn, can we go home now?" Evelyn froze, then smiled through her tears. "Yes, sweetheart," she whispered. "Let's go home."